This episode of the MOC Squad was filmed in front of a live, members-only audience. Greetings, imagination connoisseurs, and greetings to the one and only Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Good morning, Rob.
It is a very good morning. It's a hot morning, and it's a morning after I've seen 28 Years Later, which I quite enjoyed.
Hey, I'm sure there's going to be commentary. I'm guessing some of the members of our channel who are going to be joining us here today and in the chat will likely have seen it as well. So hopefully we'll have some interesting conversation about that. This is the MOC Squad, the members-only chat here at the PGS. Remember that if you'd like to participate, all you have to do is become a member for as little bit as $1 a month, and that will give you the link in the members section of the channel so that you can join us in the Zoom chat. Or if you are just watching us on YouTube, we usually stream for a couple of hours before we continue the discussion offline. So Rob, I think we have a good number of folks here waiting, and unless there's any other pre-announcements, should we just let everybody in?
Let them in.
Let them in. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. As you join our Zoom room, remember that there is a set of tools. One of them is the reactions tool that will let you raise your hand, and then I will call on you in the order that I see you here on my screen, which may look different from the order you're seeing on your screen. So do keep that in mind. And then we're looking at about 7 minutes with Rob, right? Rob, any time constraints or time limits that we need to be aware of today?
No, basically until it gets too hot in here to function.
All right, sounds
the
great.
Air conditioning is still not. I need a new.
You need a new AC.
I need a new hose.
And the
I've been saying that to the ladies for a long time.
The observatory keeps getting more and more full with lights and fun things. So I'm sure it's helping to retain some of that heat even further, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, we've got a few folks here joining us. If you're a member and you're seeing the stream starting up on YouTube and you'd like to join us here as well, please make sure that you do. And also, if you have a super chat or a tip that you'd like to share,
oh yeah, I got to look up the
we are happy to share those. Actually, we can start just with a few because we have a couple of new members. So we want to welcome Cameron, who is a new member. He became a new YouTube member. Thank you for joining us. We have Canada 613. Welcome, another new member. And Spike EP, welcome again as well to you. And again, if you become a member, you will get access to the Zoom link so you can chat with us here. Rob, I think we're going to start things off with Alon Abadi, who is joining us here all the way from Israel. Let me go ahead and have Alon join us. Alon, you should be able to join the call now. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, shalom.
Dude, how are you?
It's been a rough couple of days.
Wow. Have you been hit?
No, thank God. My city was, but with like debris, not like an actual rocket. But yeah, no. Unfortunately, every day has a new surprise here.
I can't imagine. I got on this WhatsApp thing, a group it's coming out of Israel with up-to-date videos and information, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's plenty, and it's always like it always stops like yesterday's video and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, looking at the bright side, it could have been worse, much worse, and thank God, like there's miracles every day that keeps on like surprising and happening, and there's not much to complain when you get like 10 minutes notification before like rockets hit and stuff like
Right.
that. So like the technology advanced so much, and like the intelligence is so good. So we get notified. We go to shelters. We wait there until like everything passes. The booms are insane sometimes, but then we get out and we continue with our days and stuff like that. So routine somewhat remains the same, although some places are closed. I'm so jealous that you watched 28 years later, because cinemas are closed here. And
This is what a great indication of our modern age. Yeah, cinemas are closed because you're going to get a missile attack and you can't. Well, we got 10 minutes. Can you keep the thing running for at least 10? I got to see what happens.
That is actually what is happening. Like, we're used to rockets here. So whenever cinemas are open and there's a missile incoming and stuff like that, you usually stay seated, the movie stops abruptly, and then like 10 minutes later it resumes. People are used to it.
Yeah, but now you're getting ICBMs. You're getting the Iron Dome can take rockets, but can't. They're firing things at you that you can't. That's different.
Well, usually it's somewhere up in the 80 or 90% successful takedowns. So nothing is perfect, and Iron Dome is not perfect, but it's up there. You
got to get that new laser technology that you guys have, the laser Iron Dome.
Yeah,
I mean,
we do.
They're building it. I mean, I don't think it's online.
It.
Oh, are they
it's
using
online. It's online, yeah.
Wow.
But only for drones, not for rockets.
Oh.
Yeah. It's so cool. You should see the videos. Like, it burns parts of the drone and then like it crashes. It's very cool. But anyway.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm living in a
28 years later, though, we got a movie.
Yes, I'm very excited. Like the last time I saw like a movie in that franchise, I think I was still in high school. So I'm so excited.
I loved it. I mean, it's totally different than what you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally a coming of age story. It's about a 12-year-old boy who is forced to grow up through this. It could have been set in the 1800s.
Yeah, I mean the premise sounds great, and like the trailer, I think I saw the trailer. It seemed very, very interesting.
It's really interesting.
Like keeping what's left what's left of humanity in like this island or whatever.
Yeah, well, the British in the premise of the movie is all of the British islands, Scotland, Ireland, the UK. It's all been quarantined off. They were able to prevent, because at the end of 28 weeks later, you saw the infected going into like France. They were able to stop that, and so the British Isles are completely cut off from civilization. They're blockaded by various nations who have warships. So it's all set in the British Isles, and this little island place is where the civilization is. And then when you turn a certain age, you have to go out and get your first kill. You have to go out and get this father takes. Yeah, so a father takes his son, and it's a big rite of passage. Normally, you're like
his bar mitzvah.
That's exactly, and it's so funny you say that. I was thinking about that. So normally you go when you're like 14 or 15, but in the movie they take this kid's 12 and they take him out, and his mother is very ill. Jodie Comer plays his mother, and then the father is what's his face? Craven. I was trying, but he's great, and they have to go out and he has to get his first kill, and it's not as easy as you might think. It was pretty harrowing, and it goes from there, and it was just, it's really, really, I thought it was great. I loved it.
I'm excited. I'm waiting. I really hope that like things cool down and settle down, because there's a couple of really big movies that I really want to go and see in cinemas, and I hope that everything settles down before that. Also,
Yeah,
I
you
tried
got Superman, Fantastic Four, F1, Jurassic World, Rebirth.
literally all of them. Yes.
We got to end the
That-
war, man. We got to end the
Yeah.
war so you can see the summer of 2025 cinematic offerings. Don't
Yes,
we live in an insane world that we're even talking like this? Could we end this war so I could see Jurassic World, please? The James
mean-
Gunn Superman.
I just got tagged for some reason by James Gunn Superman on Twitter. I don't know how they did it, but they dedicated a tweet just for me, which is very weird.
Wow.
But I'm pretty sure that I'm the only one who sees this tweet. It's some kind of a marketing push or something.
I love the new poster they released.
But they
for
know that I'm excited for it.
With AI, they know everything.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I had to say.
Well, you got to stay
yeah.
safe. I mean, I think about you every day, just so you know.
Oh,
And yeah,
Great,
yeah.
I hope that when this ends, I again invite you to come to Israel. And
I'm coming. I'm going to come. I feel bad that I haven't come yet. You know,
Yeah.
I have friends here that I did, but I have a friend he's my lawyer, and my lawyer goes back and forth all the time. He's going in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's cool.
And I said,
is there like a way to come in to Israel? I don't think they restored the flights yet.
I don't know if they're. Yeah, he doesn't know.
He's not going to.
Yeah, he's like, well, I mean, I know they're evacuating people, the Americans and all that, but
he thinks he's coming. He's not sure. Alon, it was great to see you, my friend. Please stay safe, okay?
Stay safe.
All right. Let's go ahead and remove Alon from the conversation here. Up next is Doug Salier. Doug, you should be able to join us now. Welcome.
What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going all right, you know.
Uh,
Every day, I don't think, you know, we live in a very strange timeline right now.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, I just read an article about these guys were mowing these gardeners that took care of this guy's house, literally in a few cities over. They were mowing the lawn, and of course, ICE agents came, scooped them up, and they left the lawnmower still running, and they don't know where the gardeners went.
Oh, geez.
And yeah, that's what I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in Canada right now, and wanted to visit my granddaughter in Virginia, but kind of scary across the border right now. So yeah.
I mean, I'm a big proponent of legal immigration, you know. But that said, living in California, that isn't all. I mean, in an ideal world, we would have legal immigration, but it's so difficult sometimes to deal with legal immigration in this country, and especially when you have whole families that have big components of them here in the States. Some are here legally, some are here not, and then across the border. So it's you know, it's a tough one. It's a tough issue, but I think that I don't know necessarily that we're going about it the right way. I mean, I understand we need to have legal immigration. We need to know, but I think that there's people, you can make it easier for people that are already here to register, to have them come in and sign up, you know, because a lot of people are paying taxes too, and they're not availing themselves of I just think this idea to demonize people. You know, most of the people here are not criminals. They're not demons. They're not doing, they want a better life for themselves and their families, and they work and contribute to the community.
Well, when they're waiting for when ICE agents are waiting right at the courthouse for them to come out, right?
Yeah, I mean, people that are trying to get their legal papers, or they're in the process of becoming legal, which takes years sometimes.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's like if you're in this process of becoming, they've taken people that were here on visas, they've taken kids. You know, but we also have, you know, there is, I mean, it comes down, are we going to be a compassionate people or not? And I understand. I mean, there's a lot of people have gotten really mean. We live in a very mean time.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm fascinated with public domain because there's a lot of big ones coming up. And is there anything you're excited for that's probably in the public domain, or what's your feeling on that?
Well, that's a great question. The really interesting thing is, so for instance, Max Allan Collins, who wrote True Noir, his favorite book is The Maltese Falcon. And The Maltese Falcon goes into the public domain in January of 2026. So he wrote a sequel, The Return of the Maltese Falcon. He made a book publishing deal, Sam Spade, Humphrey Bogart, and he has The Return of the Maltese Falcon is coming out in January of 2026. He's already written it. It's already got a publishing deal. So I found that fascinating, and when you have a character like Superman is close to going into the public domain.
Yeah.
So, but the version of Superman that's going into the public domain is the version that existed when Superman was created. So not the Superman that flies.
Oh. We leap tall buildings.
He leaps tall buildings at a single bound. And that is the character that goes into the public domain. And there's really nothing anybody can do about that. Just like the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse goes into the public domain.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, I really do, because then you get a lot of like Sherlock Holmes, obviously, is in the public domain, and you can get shows like Sherlock or Elementary, which is fine, but it's going to be really interesting when you have these corporations that own these giant IPs. How is that going to work? How are things going to, how are they going to coexist?
Yeah.
So, but it's fascinating because we're going to start seeing in the next 20 years a lot of very famous things falling into the public domain.
Yeah, I'm excited for Conan. We haven't had a good Conan anything for years.
Yeah, I mean, again, then it just is the question of the problem is, will anyone spend lots of money to make something like if you were going to make a Conan movie, say Disney or Universal, say Universal wanted to make another Conan movie. If it's in the public domain, what they're doing, their iteration of Conan, from what I understand, would be you can copyright your iteration of something. So anything that you bring to it that's new, or the people, then you can copyright that thing. I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see. I'd love to see King Conan, where Schwarzenegger is playing King Conan, and then he could have a flashback story with someone else playing Conan.
Well, that was supposed to happen with Arnold and his son. Well, not his son, but the Conan's son was supposed to be. That was supposed to happen, but they had copyright issues.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting. I mean, all I want to see is great stories well told. That's what I'm interested in. But I wish Star Trek was going into the public domain.
That's not going to be for a while.
It's too bad, man. Too bad. Yeah, it won't be for a while. We have to still. Ugh.
Yeah. I stopped at Discovery. I watched the first couple episodes, and that was it. So, anyways, my time's up. So you have a good day, and
you too, man.
Appreciate everything you do.
Oh, well, thank you.
It was so good to see you, Doug. Good to see you, man. Friend.
And enjoy Canada. We can't blame Canada anymore. Just enjoy it.
All right. We do have a couple. Andy from Argentina is up next, but we have a couple of super chats. I want to make sure we read them for $2. 200 Watt Studio absolutely loved. 28 years later, it looks like he agrees with you, Rob. So
I did too.
That's a good thing to know. Another new member, Marco. Marco became a YouTube member. So we will say thank you to that. And 200 Watt Studio returns.
Whenever you hear the name Marco, do you ever think of the Prime Minister in Hunt for Red October? Because Marco Ramius, and he opens the letter. Oh, Marco! And he opens the letter, and
now
then
that you say it, now I'm going to remember.
He drops the T as he reads Marco's letter.
It makes me think of a cousin I have, or my cousin's ex-husband from Chile. His name was Marco, and I always thought he was a cool dude. So
yeah, anytime I hear Marco, I just hear the Russian guy going, "Oh, Marco," and then dropping.
Oh, that's funny. 200 Work Studio says 28 Days Later is about leaving childhood things behind and what happens when you don't. I think you had alluded to some of that before we started the show.
Yeah. That's what I thought, and I loved it.
And he's correcting here, 28 years later. So
yeah, 28 years later.
And then Secular Monk, $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you for recommending Logan's Run. Great film. Wow,
I'm glad you like that. I'm glad to hear that.
Rob, I recently finished reading a book you recommended. The Woods Are Dark.
What did you think of Jack Ketchum's?
Oh my gosh, that is.
By the way, Dave Parker and I have talked about making that into a movie.
Okay, but as it stands, it's unfilmable. You'd have to make some serious changes, especially when it comes to the ages of certain characters. Because there's no way. I mean, you'd be arrested for some of the stuff that happens in the book with the types of characters that perform those acts.
Yeah, well, yes.
Yeah, if you were, you'd have to age up some characters. There's no way.
So that book, it's very
that
funny.
Book is insane. I read it in like 2 days. It's such a fast read. I mean, you're just consumed by it.
Oh yeah, but that was back in the day, the 80s.
Yeah.
When the horror of the 80s was so extreme.
Right.
I mean,
well, and it's interesting to hear the story about how the book was then edited and messed up, and it completely ruined Ketchum's career in the United States.
Yeah. Well, his big magnum opus, I discovered him because Fangoria did a story about a book he wrote called Off Season, which was this cannibal. It was just like, this book is the goriest. I mean, it's so beyond the pay. And they were right. It was so much fun. That was my first Ketchum book.
Yeah, and The Woods Are Dark is also dealing with cannibalism, but oh my god.
But it's pretty cool, the twist, kind of how
yeah,
it's kind of good. Like,
you
think, oh, it's this terrible town, but then
yes, yeah, exactly. No. I mean, I kept thinking, okay, it's definitely cinematic, but is it filmable as it is? The only thing that I was thinking is, well, maybe you could get away with it with AI actors in the future, right? I mean, so if you're not actually using real actors for some of the parts, maybe you could get away with it without getting arrested. But anyway, anyway, you're looking for a scary read, check out The Woods Are Dark. It's something else. Rob approved. We got Andy from Argentina. Andy, well, bienvenido, mi amigo. How are you?
Hola, Roberto.
Hola, saludos.
Hi, Rob.
How's it going?
Fine. The other day I treated myself to the most unusual double feature in movies.
I can't wait to hear this.
Recommendations of you for years and years, and you're not allowed to guess. But the thing is, I've seen for the first time these two movies, All That Jazz and Stone Cold. And you cannot say that name without that tone. You should say it.
Okay, that might be the double feature of the year.
Now, just imagine finishing one movie and then jumping right into the other movie. That was actually really particular. But I will, my point will not be a review of those two movies, but the feeling of those two movies that, believe it or not, I found similarities, but not in the story, of course.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. Jaws is like my favorite movie of all time, pretty much. next to Predator and Aliens.
It
and
turned
everything.
50 years old yesterday.
Yeah. And that was actually something alluded to all that jazz, because Roy Scheider is one of my favorite actors of all time. So it took me actually 2 tries, because the first time maybe I wasn't in the mood, or who cares, but the second time I was ready for that movie. You know, I wanted to digest it, you know, and I loved it. I actually loved it. You know, it's a great insight into the production and things that goes on behind the scenes, and the frustration of doing something that you could see, this is magical, this is great. Yeah, but we're not going to go with that because yeah, we can't, it's too erotic or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's the frustration, but whatever. Incredible movie, I loved it. Thank you. Moving on. Stone Cold. And yeah, I love Lance Henriksen. You know, if I like Aliens and the Terminator, that's a familiar face. And I love him as a bad guy because, you know, Hard Target and many other movies. It's just a great actor. It is a pleasure to see him on the screen. And Brian Bosworth, you know, he tried to be Arnie and Sly and all the rest at the same time, and it didn't work out, but I liked him. I liked the movie.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. That was like a perfect early 90s action Saturday afternoon flick.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You just watch it and just have a smile.
Yes.
It's unavoidable. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right.
Now, this is what I found from those 2 movies that makes me watch more movies from the late 70s and the 80s and the early 90s, and then compare to what we have right now. And that's actually my point.
I like where you're going with this.
I could be hours talking about those 2 movies, but I have a different point. Now, those 2 movies, they don't apologize for that, what they want to be. You know what I mean? One movie is presenting like the good guy, or I'm talking about all that jazz. It's like our protagonist. It's not the greatest dude in the world.
No.
It's actually somebody who cheats everyone. And then we have another movie which is cheesy as fuck, and one could say so bad that it's good. Maybe I don't agree. I say it's just so good that it's good, but
yeah.
But so bad that it's good. Now we have 2 movies that they don't ask for anything more than what they are, and they give it to you. And if you want to embrace it, that's great. If you don't like it, you can go watch something else.
Yes.
Today, we either have things that are incomprehensible, expensive, like we are talking about $400 million movie, like it's just another movie. And we're talking about streaming services movies for, $200 million. You know, this Christmas movie with The Rock and some other, $200 million. $200. How much was for Stone Cold? $2 million? $5 million?
Probably, yeah.
And all that jazz? I couldn't see that movie to be more than $2 million, maybe a little bit
well,
more
at the
than
time,
that.
yeah, it was probably more
Right.
than that because it was expensive because of all the shows,
Now,
but nothing like today.
Don't tell me about inflation. 200 million, 400, that's crazy. And at the same time, it's like they are so forgettable, Rob. Today, they are so forgettable. Sometimes you can appreciate a movie to be legendary, like all that jazz, or be cheesy, stupid, good, like Stone Cold. And today they are just forgettable. They're not even bad or good. They are, yeah, they were okay. Yeah, all right. And you forget 5 minutes afterward. That's my fucking point. You have the scene, please. Tell me what you think.
You know what? I think that you just made a very, very astute point in the sense that the difference is that the people that made, first of all, Bob Fosse was making a story about his own life. I mean, he was a Romana Clef. It was about himself. It was his autobiography. And so I think what you're talking about is the authenticity behind the reason those movies were made. Whereas, you know, Bob Fosse took everything he knows, the fact that he did have a heart attack and the fact that he was a philanderer, he loved women, you know, and then he also injected, what does it mean to be an artist? So, and then in Stone Cold, like you said, they set out to make a B action movie. But, you know, Brian Bosworth has a pet alligator, and Lance Henriksen, you know, he's the head of this biker gang, and there's girls with their tits hanging out, and you know, it's unapologetic for what it is. So what you were seeing nowadays, everything is defined. It's not defined by somebody who, like when they made Stone Cold, you had people that they set out to make an action movie that would appeal to a certain demographic. They knew they were going to make a certain amount of money, but they also wanted to make exactly the kind of movie, like hiring Brian Bosworth and hiring Lance Henriksen and Forsythe and all those people. And it was directed by Craig Baxley, who's a former stuntman. In a way, it was the John Wick of its day. You know, you had, and they're like, hey, we can shoot in the Capitol building of our state. So what they did was what they wanted to do was not defined by corporate overlords. You know, they raised the money to make exactly what they wanted to make, and they got to make what they wanted to without oversight from other people telling them what they should do. And I think that the problem now is also you're not spending nearly the kind of money that you spend today. I mean, John Wick would have cost $5 million if they'd made it in 1992. But now a John Wick movie costs $100 million. And if you're spending that much money, that means you have to hit all these pre-decided boxes. You have to check these boxes, otherwise you're not going to get your money back. So nothing that gets made today is defined by what it is. It's defined by how much it costs, and it's defined by other factors. So we're not seeing movies that are genuine anymore. They're all defined. But sometimes, like I watched 28 Years Later yesterday, and a filmmaker like Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, they're allowed to make whatever they want to make and how they want to make it because they're established and they've won Academy Awards and they're a proven commodity. So, but those people, there's maybe probably 10 or 20 people on planet Earth that can go make what they want to make. But that's it. There is no, it used to be that the horror genre, for instance, allowed filmmakers like John Carpenter, when he started out, he could make Assault on Precinct 13, then he could make Halloween, then he could make The Fog, then he could make Escape from New York, and works his way up, and then he finally gets to make The Thing, his first studio movie, doesn't make any money, and his career was derailed. Then he goes back and he makes Christine. So there's very few people that are allowed to make what they want to make these days. And everything else is so expensive that you're never going to get a movie like Stone Cold anymore because nobody would make that. You know, who's going to, the Stone Colds have turned into the John Wicks, the B movies have turned into A movies. And that's too bad, you know? And that's why I think movies we live in a post-cinema age. That's what I've been calling for years. Cinema is not being made anymore. Movies are being made, but all that jazz is cinema. But cinema great movies are cinema. Hell, I mean, I watched the 4K disc of High Society from 1956 just the other day. I got the disc in, and it was incredible. It was a Warner Archive disc. They would never make that movie today. Even though it was a remake of the Philadelphia Story, it'd be totally different. But it's a bummer. It's a bummer that movies today, like even Marvel movies, you can track what happened to Marvel. Marvel, we're going to start Disney Plus, so we're going to rely on Marvel. So Marvel makes money, so you guys have to you've got to make us a bunch of TV shows now. And they're like, as if anything with a Marvel name will just make money. The same thing happened to Star Wars. You can gauge, or any IP, you can gauge a movie is made for its own reasons. A filmmaker makes a movie, they put all their passion into it, all the people that work on it. It's a film, and then if it becomes wildly successful, suddenly it becomes an IP. And then the reason for making the second movie or the third movie is no longer the creative impulse that made the first thing in the first place. It becomes only about profit. And that's what's happened to every movie that gets a sequel. And then now we live in a world where all we're getting are remakes, sequels. Occasionally, the horror genre still allows you still have emerging filmmakers like the brothers that made Talk to Me. Now they have Bring Her Back, which is good, but that's because they're not. Then they'll rise up and start commanding huge budgets, and then the thing will cycle over again. It's too bad, but the business of Hollywood has killed Hollywood, and streaming, spending $200 million on any movie for a streaming movie is ridiculous because there's no return. There's no difference on streaming for a movie that costs $20 million or a movie that costs $200 million. It's 2 hours of time, and they could be equally entertaining. So why anybody, they think, oh, we're going to have 3 stars. We'll have Ryan Reynolds and The Rock and Gal Gadot, and they'll all get paid $20 million. We don't care. We live in a very odd time, but it has ruined movies because there's very few movies that are worth seeing, I think. Because you're right. Everything is forgettable because the stories are pre-digested, and they're defined not by the people that make them, but they're defined by the people that pay for them. And movies used to be, people were hired. The people that were hired to make movies were not necessarily hired because the overlords went and got them. The overlords were betting on them, and that's no longer the case. So
great to see you, Andy. We have
what a great thing that's a great idea. We should have done a whole observations on that.
No kidding. We have a couple of other super chats here, or mentions at least. The Smart Review has become a member, has been a member for 5 months. So thank you to the Smart Review for that. 200 Watt Studio chimes in again with another $5. Just heard the last film in the trilogy is 28 years later, The Boner Temple. I guess that's the name of the third one.
Yeah, The Bone Temple is the
Bone Temple is the second one.
It's already finished, by the way. It comes out in January.
It's already finished, yeah. But apparently the third one will be The Boner Temple. So
we saw some clips from it at CinemaCon, The Bone Temple.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's directed by the woman Nia DaCosta, who directed the reboot of Candyman, and she also directed the Marvels.
That's right.
She was smart. She went back and made The Bone Temple.
And is the third one, if it happens, going to be Danny Boyle again or somebody else?
They don't know.
They don't know. Okay.
At CinemaCon, they said they have ideas for it.
Okay.
It's not. I would imagine after this weekend, they might green light it.
They'll have a better sense. Okay. All right. Major ChaiChai is joining us next. Welcome, Major ChaiChai.
Hello, thank you.
I opened your capsules.
Oh, yay. What did you get?
Okay, in the Star Wars capsule, there's a little tiny Han Solo necklace.
Okay.
And in the Godzilla one, which is pretty cool, it's the smog monster. Hedora,
Okay.
The smog monster.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then in the cinema one, this is wild. So the cinema one, because it comes with a catalog of all the things you can get, and they're all things that are in movie theaters. So it came with like an it's not electronic, but it's a reproduction of like an electronic, like either where they would put the movie posters changing or something.
Oh, okay.
Or like ads that would just,
cycle through.
Yeah. It was, and that's what it is. But if you got like all of those capsules, then you could set up your own little movie theater.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
because that one I got in so wherever you go in Tokyo and in Japan, you have the gacha machines.
Yeah.
And I'm in Akibara Electric Town. So, and I'm walking past, there's a bank of them. And I stopped to look and see what's there, because I was trying to find another Star Wars one that had the ships.
Right.
And I looked and I'm like, oh, movie stuff. I got to get this for Rob.
Yeah. I have to tell you, the Han Solo necklace doesn't exist anymore.
What? Oh,
Gilbert,
did the dogs get it?
Gilbert grabbed it. I was like, I picked it up and I didn't know that Gilbert, I was hanging it like this. He jumped up and grabbed it. I mean, chomped it in oblivion in one bite. But the Hedora is pretty cool, or Hedora.
Yeah.
Hedora. Smog Monster is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You have to put them together.
Yeah. I bought like 4 of them. So one for me, one for my son, one for my husband, and one for you.
Oh, and here's the art card. Here's the Star Wars art card that I got.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's obviously Empire Strikes Back, but yeah, the Imperio Colpis. I don't even know what language this is in, but looks Italian, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. It's on heavy cardstock.
Well, I try to pick stuff like when I went to that Star Wars store, I try to pick stuff that was made in Japan or for exclusive sale in Japan. So that art card was printed or made in Japan. The key tag, it on the outside or the box or something, I can't remember, it said for exclusive sale in Japan. So there shouldn't be anything like that for a while yet.
No, I mean, I love those capsule things. I used to buy, they made a lot of Star Trek ones and Space Battleship Yamato ones, and I have a bunch of those things. They're cool. You could buy them from stores that would sell you the whole line of them.
Okay.
Like the worst, the worst place in the world is, I mean, it's the greatest place in the world, but it's also the worst place in the world, is Hobby Link Japan. And if you're at all interested in anything Japanese, I'm not saying go there, but I mean, I back when in the aughts, when I had my DVD business and was making more money, it was the most dangerous website in existence. This was pre-Hot Toys too. I mean, just the stuff because there's so much Japanese stuff that's only sold in Japan.
Yeah.
Resin kits. Yeah. There's an animated series called it's my favorite animated series of all time. It's called Legends of the Galactic Heroes. Yeah. And there's a company called Alba that made all of the ships in resin. It's not good. You should check out.
I tried to keep an eye out for Legends of the Galactic Heroes while I was out and about in Japan. And that Gundam store where you had the bag, there were 2 stores actually in the mall. One was at the base of the giant unicorn Gundam, and that was like little trinkets and doodads you could get. At the top was where you could get either the kits or the models. And I worked my way up there. I'm like, oh yes, I'm gonna get some cool stuff. And it was like you had to have a reservation to get in. And they were booked through next week, and they were holding a lottery to see who could get in. That is how packed it was.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's really what's really interesting is there, you can't get that stuff here. Like there's no place that really sells it. You can get certain things like I can neither confirm nor deny that I did this, but there is, like, I really love die-cast metal Gundam toys, and I don't have that many of them, but there was one I really wanted to get. It was perfect grade size, so it was 1/60th scale. It was my favorite Gundam, the new Gundam that was introduced in Victory Gundam that was in Char's Counterattack, and there was this giant metal. It was 1/60th scale. Then they released parts for it that you could only get on the Bandai website. And
Mhm.
I might have at some point in the last year, maybe not, but I might have walked into a hobby store that happened to have this behind the counter, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I'm like, I was like, why would you possibly, like, where did it come from? They couldn't tell me, but they had all of it, all the pieces of it that you would have to get. And I'm like,
Yeah.
do you do layaway? And
Yeah.
maybe
is
I
the one-
might have, and it might have taken me months to get it.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
if I got it,
Maybe if you got it.
maybe.
Okay. So I don't know how much time we have left, but there were some brochures. I don't know if you can see.
Look at that, the longest day. Look at that.
Yeah, I got this from my dad.
Yeah.
I got Midway too. I thought this was the 70s version of Midway, but it's not. It's the modern Midway.
Oh, it looks like the 70s version of Midway.
It looks like it. So,
Okay.
You saw the Close Encounters, but I got.
Oh, Master and Commander.
Yeah.
Look, everybody, that's all great, but you know what we want to see.
What, the Death Star?
Come on.
It's not. I don't have it up here, and it's not completed yet. I have
got
part of one.
I'll have to show the
part of one you can
pictures.
see.
I'll have to show the pictures. You sent me the picture. I was going to show it on the next observations.
Okay. I have part of one that's like halfway done, but I don't have the one that I showed you.
Okay.
That I sent a picture of. So you guys can see that, but it's not very exciting. It's like half a sphere.
All right. Well, we will show no Death Star, crochet Death Star before it's time. I understand.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
It was good to see you, Major ChaiChai. Thanks for joining us today.
You should take your kids to 28 years later.
Oh, nice recommendation there for the family. And who do we have here? We have Kelvin Wellborn. Sorry, I didn't give you a heads up, Kelvin. Kelvin from Down Under. Are you able to join us now, Kelvin? Let's see if you're able to join us. Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome, Kelvin. How are you?
Good, Roberto, and yourself?
Doing well, thank you. Good to have you.
Oh, it's great always to be here.
Did you get anything good this week?
A couple of things, yes, I did. And I actually watched this one last night.
Oh, I keep forgetting to order that. How is it? How's the movie?
It ends strangely. I presume you know the premise. I really didn't actually read much about it. I just bought it because it sounded. I liked the title, and I mean, this is the '88 films version.
Oh,
the Celluloid Dreams.
Yeah, I want the I love that company. I mean, they're new, but I love that company.
I went with this one because it was 20% off on Amazon Australia, so you can't go past that.
Right. Come on, and 88 Films does good work. Is that 4K? It looks like it's got the 4K thing on it. Is it 4K? So yeah, look at that. Come on. Nice set.
Nice booklet.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I watched it last night. I did enjoy it, but that ending, I don't want to spoil it for you. It was a bit strange. You do know that the guy is relating his story from the morgue, basically.
Yes.
I didn't really realize that. And of course, it has Barbara Bach in it.
I know, man. I know.
Yeah, anyway, you get some art card. Oh, no, it's a poster. So,
oh, that's cool. Well, that's good. 88 Films always puts out good stuff.
Yeah, so I wasn't. I have to say, I'm going to really be delving into these extras because that ending, as I said, was very odd how it ended. Can I? Do you want me
20% off. That's a Schnäppchen. That's a Schnäppchen.
It is.
It's a Schnäppchen.
It is. And the other thing that arrived this week was Adventures, Tales of Adventures, Volume 6.
Those are so great. Those sets. I gotta order. It's just ordering your Aussie stuff is so pricey. I mean, the last order I made, I had to have over $160 to get free shipping.
Yeah, I know. But hey, You know, I got 20% off. No, it wasn't 20% because I actually ordered
Oh,
it
look
from
at
an
what
old.
Major ChaiChai's got her Death Star up. Look at that.
Death Star.
Look at that. Wow, that's so cool.
Anyway, I mean, it was another problem though, because of course, with all these films as a box set, there's always one that you already have, the Bridget Remagen. I bought it last year from the US.
Oh,
So, but fortunately, my brother, he gets it. It was his birthday last week, so.
did you
Uh,
do you pre-order from like Umbrella and
I often do. This one I got from a company called Sanity. It was about $5 cheaper because I missed
yeah.
the Via Vision imprint sale.
Mm,
I was too late. I was like, oh, you know, you know how you start to gather your goods together, and I was like, Wes, expired. Must have been after 5 o'clock on the day of the
yeah.
sale. So
Well,
I was
it's
like,
getting
oh.
it's getting to the all I can tell you is I saw so after High Society, which was the second 4K that Warner Archive has released, I called George Feltenstein at Warner Brothers to tell him how great it was. And we had a conversation.
Yep.
And he told me things that I can't reveal. All I can tell you, I can't even say the name of the company, but there is a company, a good company that their list of they haven't announced anything, is insane.
Oh.
and so George Feltenstein works for Warner Brothers. So I would say that I've talked a lot about Warner Brothers things that I would like to see come out in 4K.
Can I say one of them would be Excalibur?
Well, Bill Hunt has said that Excalibur is going to be released.
Yes.
It's going to come out. But virtually every single Warner Brothers title that I have ever mentioned, with the exception of only one, is coming out.
Does that mean Where Eagles Dare? I actually had to I couldn't find it at JB.
That's MGM, by the way.
Well, but don't they?
I know, but it is controlled. Warner Brothers would put that out, wouldn't they?
They would. But yeah, I had to actually go and I went to JB Hi-Fi yesterday, and God, it's awful going in there now. So pathetic. You just go, yeah, it's a bit like you got to go online to get stuff, but because they didn't have, like, Dirty Harry wasn't there,
Yeah.
and neither was Outlaw Jose Wales. Pale Rider wasn't there.
Outlaw Jose Wales.
Yeah, me and my friends have called that for, I don't know, 40 years.
I'm never not saying Jose Wales from now on. The Outlaw Jose Wales. Outlaw Jose Wales. ICE is coming to get him. Yeah, but isn't it depressing? You can't go into a there's no because everything that everybody wants, they're ordering direct from the manufacturer, because no one's going to stock it.
No, the only thing I did see, which was interesting to see in person, was the imprints release of the Shakespeare trilogy, Laurence Olivier's box set.
Oh, yeah.
I had a read of the back cover, 4K restoration, 4K restoration, 4K restoration for all three of those movies.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I already have the Blu-rays from Network or whatever years ago. And I thought, somebody's going to release a 4K of this set. I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah. Well, Vinegar Syndrome is they're coming to LA and they're having this pop-up event.
You should go and have you heard of this problem they've had with Imprint and Orbit DVD?
No.
Vinegar Syndrome has been pressuring Orbit DVD not to stock Imprint titles like The Keep.
Right. Oh,
Yep.
that's not, I mean,
that's not very nice.
No, and that's a problem because, with companies like Diabolic I say a diabolic DVD.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I get it. I go diabolic's a movie character, but I understand that because but the thing is, Vinegar Syndrome sold out of their keep. They just printed
know.
more or something, and it's like if somebody wants to do a different packaging,
And have a documentary that they didn't release themselves.
yeah, right. That's I mean, look at like PlayOn just put out Waterworld, and you get the Ulysses cut of Waterworld in 4K. I mean, it's probably an AI upscaled 4K, but still, I mean, you're gonna. It's a really interesting. It's an interesting time.
The only thing that it just sort of annoys me because most of the time, all these companies have been working together.
Yeah,
With Second Sight or with Shout, or they're all doing things together, and just somebody decides that, hey, I'm going to miss out on something. It's just annoying.
No, it's true. I mean, it's a really interesting time in terms of boutique labels. It's wild. I mean, it's a wild. So like, you look, I bought Planet of the Vampires, the 4K from Germany. Dieter got me the 4K Planet of the Vampires. It's unfucking believable. But I also bought the Radiance Planet of the Vampires. It's not even in 4K, just because I love Planet of the Vampires and I like the packaging. And those Deaf Crocodile, I bought the two DIFA horror films at horror film science fiction films that Deaf Crocodile put out, but I also bought the box set from Eureka in the UK just because I wanted to support Deaf Crocodile. And it's cool, but then again, I mean, it's like, come on, this DIFA box set is the bomb diggity, yo. And it's got 4. And it's got First Spaceship on Venus uncut. This is one of my favorite releases of the year. This goes to the top of my releases of the year. I don't know if it'll make anybody else's releases of the year, but it's certainly actually this one's my favorite so far. It's not a disc. But yeah, I mean it's crazy. So
it's good to see you as always, Kelvin. Thank you so much for keeping us abreast of all of your awesome purchases. Couple of super chats here to share. We've got Tom Beggerman for $4.99, $5. Thank you so much, Tom. People don't appreciate art like cinema or literature anymore because they're too busy living virtual lives on Fortnite. It makes me sad.
I totally agree. I mean, I talk about that all the time on Robservations. I mean, we used to look outward. Now everybody's looking inward. We're all a bunch of navel gazers now. And in order to love art, you have to look outside yourself. But now everybody's the star of their own show, which in a way is, I guess, interesting. But it's everyone's so far up their own ass that I don't understand. As a people and as a culture, where is that going to be if we're not seekers? If we're not looking outward to define ourselves? What is the future of art going to even be?
Mm-hmm.
Although I have to tell you, I tweeted it. I put it on X this morning. I watched. It was like somebody had made an AI, like all black news show, and it was all. And then there was also commercials in it.
Yeah,
and it was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious, but I'm like, if somebody made this show, and it was a half an hour comedy show like this, but it was like a fake news show. Everything was fake. It was so hilarious, and it was all done with AI. It worked, and it's a boon for you have to make it was all about the writing.
Right.
So whoever wrote it is a comedy writer. Somebody has created this format, and it was the first time I saw something that was completely AI generated, but it was totally reliant upon, like, none of the people in it were real. It was hilarious. It made me laugh, and I'm like, I would watch that as a half an hour show. It was the first time I saw an AI generated show that I would watch.
Yeah.
And I because everything else I've seen is, and I have to say, all those ape videos that people are making. Have you seen those? Like, they're like Bigfoot in the woods. And there's one where, where there's an Australian speaking ape. Oh mate, I just put a stick of dynamite in that fire, you know, and you see we're gonna see what happens, you know, and then the fire explodes. It's hilarious. I can't get enough of these ape AI things because it's all about the writing.
Yeah.
So you have comedy writers or people that are funny. And you know, they're like the fact that they're anthropomorphic. Well, they're not, apes are already anthropomorphized, but they're making these apes talk.
Yeah.
But the fact that somebody just gave them an Australian accent is one that's hilarious. And then these apes, if that was an animated series, if somebody was doing the animation, people would watch it. It'd be hilarious. It's hilarious. So I think comedy writers or people who are really good. I mean, obviously they have to know what their prompt. You have to know what the prompt is.
Yeah.
But with the new Google Vero, you can get like up to 8 seconds per shot.
Okay.
I think, and then if you pay the money, you get like 100 shots. It'll generate you 100 shots. People are going to start to come up with things that are really funny.
Yeah.
So I think that's where AI, because you know, and for me, like if you were going to do it for real, you would have to have CG apes, you know, to be able to talk.
Of course.
It's something that you could never do without spending a ton of money.
Right.
And it's hilarious. It makes me laugh. It's hilarious. But this black newscast was really funny, you know, and then when it went into the commercials and it was just, and I'm looking at this going, okay.
Yeah.
You know, and we're going to see it all comes down to writing, because I don't think AI can write comedy the way that human beings, at least not yet.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to have a sense of the absurd anyway. So it's going to be really interesting to see. But you can't, are people going to be able to monetize that? I guess they can if you put it on YouTube.
Well, I was going to say, Rob, it's funny that you mentioned this because I recently had a similar experience with a channel that I would recommend you check out. It's a YouTube channel called Neural Viz. Neural V-I-Z. Neural Viz. Okay. And they have started a series of videos of what it actually, the videos you have to start from the first one and watch them in order. The first few are not necessarily related, but after like the second or third video, they actually start to be related to one another. And it's basically a civilization of these alien-like creatures that live in a world in which apparently humans had existed in before. And we are now kind of like the mythology of these people.
Okay.
But their reality is very much a reality like ours is today. So we're watching their TV shows. We're watching like their version of Cops, and we're watching like their version of Ancient Mysteries or Unsolved Mysteries. And they are looking back at what our lives were like in the past. And it's all done with AI. But again, it comes down to the writing. It is hysterical how they do it. So I would recommend that you check it out because I think it's going to be similar to what you're talking about. And this guy is putting out content maybe every couple of weeks, and it all builds as you watch the episodes in order. The mythology builds, and so it's building a lore without directly telling you what the lore is. Just as we're experiencing these TV shows of this weird parallel universe. I mean,
this is the first time that I've ever thought, like, it's clear that to me the idea, what was really interesting about like the black newscast I saw today was none of those people are real.
Yeah.
You know, they're just not real. No one is real. They're all computer generated, but there was something, the way that they were able to get whoever wrote it, it's all about your prompts, and then you have to prompt the image, and then you also have to do the writing.
The dialogue, right?
So I think that AI storytelling, is going to be it's completely a writer's medium.
Yeah.
Which in one hand, because some of the things that those Australian ape videos, they're just funny. The idea that somebody decided to take these we're going to do apes. Or have you seen all the Stormtrooper videos they've been doing?
I've heard of some. I have not.
So Kevin, my friend Kevin Rubio, who made Troops back in the 90s, you know, the Stormtrooper parody of Cops, but it's in universe, so it could be canonical if you want to think of it that way. He went out to Death Valley and shot it, and had some of the effects guys from Babylon 5 do the effects, and he did that, on the cheap,
right,
30 years ago. Well, now you can just do that.
You can just prompt it.
Like he wrote these characters. He wrote his characters Tag and Bink. He did for Marvel Comics,
right,
kind of like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. You could do Tag and Bink now as a series, and Kevin Rubio could take what he's written, his comics, and just prompt the scenes,
right,
and they would be hilarious. And that's, I mean, whether you appreciate that future or not, it is here, and some of it's already proving to be quite spectacular.
Yeah. Well, definitely check out Neural Viz, Rob. I think you would appreciate
I've already subscribed.
Its humor. So, and it won't take you long to go through the catalog because the videos are, around 5 minutes each, so you could get caught up pretty quickly. We have a couple of super chats that kind of relate to this discussion. A World in Pajamas says, I just tuned in. Sorry if you have to repeat yourself. Did you enjoy 28 years later? Hope you are well. Sandman 2 is coming. How excited are you?
Well, first of all, I love 28 Days Later. 28 weeks, 28 years.
28 years.
28 years. I loved it. It was not what I expected, and I loved it. Again, it was something it was a very interesting point of view. I felt that I'm always looking for authorship. Give me authorship. And I got that. In terms of Sandman, I have to say that I loved Neil Gaiman. The Sandman is my favorite comic book of all time. And I have all the absolute editions. I have everything Neil Gaiman has ever written. And normally, I'm always like, separate the art from the artist kind of a thing. And I've been on panels with Neil Gaiman. I have a signed book from him. What happened was reading the accounts was incredibly disappointing because it was so contrary to everything he's written. His point of view and his worldview, at least that was contained in his books. It's been incredibly disappointing. And look, I'm still excited to see like the Season of Mists translated to film, but I mean, I feel like I was profoundly betrayed by one of my favorite creators.
And it puts the story of there's that story where in Sandman's story, which is kind of one of the standalones,
Calliope.
It puts that story in a very interesting context after the allegations, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it like they're in my mind. I mean, whether or not, like, for instance, Roman Polanski, that one thing that happened that I can think, why was that girl at that party? It shouldn't have happened, obviously. But that was a one-time thing. It was not good, but there's things about it that. But when you have an ongoing series of these, like, I think that Roman Polanski wouldn't necessarily have done that if he wasn't fucked up and high at Jack Nicholson's house at a party thinking, you're not thinking, this is hot. You're not thinking, I'm not saying that he should be absolved of his sins, and he admits he's guilty. But what an ongoing multiple, when you're grooming people and you're using your Svengali-like abilities as a famous writer and doing this ongoing, that's horrible behavior.
Right.
And I can't, even in my mind, I can't get past that. I can't.
World in Pajamas chimes in again and says, also, ChatGPT and Gemini are shitty editors. I don't think editors will be losing their jobs anytime soon. Hope you are drinking whiskey in that glass.
No, you know what? I got to tell you, I got more. This is, I mean, here's an old fashioned, but these are this stuff called water drop.
Oh,
and they're these ridiculously expensive cubes that you drop in, and they got vitamins in them. There's not artificial or anything like that. But the cola and the lemon iced tea. This is the lemon iced tea. Because I probably drink 8 or 10 glasses of water a day in these mason jars. I mean, I have a rotating. I'm constantly washing them. Like 8 glasses. But these water drop things, They're expensive, but it's so good. So good.
Not an official sponsor of the show, just so you know. This
No,
is not,
they're
this is
not.
not a paid promotion or anything like that.
There you go.
And then World in Pajamas also says, well, hold on, let me get these in order here. I feel the same way. This is in response to the Neil Gaiman comments. You know how much I admire him. It's because of him I am writing my book. It upsets me too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so petty when it comes down to it. I mean, it's like, and then when you're not good, I mean, you'd think a guy like that would be like Casanova. He'd be like the greatest lover in the world. No, he's just a clumsy, terrible, horrible,
We've got Played Out, who says, Rob, ever been to Scarecrow Video in Seattle?
I have. I mean, it's a really weird. So here's the thing. I was there in Seattle at the dawn of the home video era. And really the first, they call it the second video store in the world, or in America, was a store called Video Space that I worked at. And so for 8 years, from 1980 to 1988, until I moved to California, I worked in home video in Seattle. Scarecrow Video didn't exist then. So I've gone back to visit it, and now it's a nonprofit. It's an amazing place. It's an incredible place, but it's great that it exists. I love the fact that it exists in Seattle. Seattle was one of the initial test markets for Laserdiscs. It was Houston and Seattle. So, one of the first Laserdiscs I ever saw was Jaws, when it was MCA Disco Vision and these weird puffy flip up boxes. And so Jaws, I mean, home video and Seattle go together like, chocolate and peanut butter.
Sounds a little bit like Movie Madness here in Portland, which was also turned into a nonprofit.
Yeah. The Scarecrow videos like that. I mean, they have an incredible collection. Now now we live in an embarrassment of, it's so weird. Like, I'm not a fan of VHS. I understand why people might be nostalgic for it, but it was a terrible format. It was never good. But now there's things people can get. I get it. The box art's cool and stuff, but you couldn't pay me enough. I can't even watch my Laserdiscs were better, but I have about 100 Laserdiscs left. Yeah, and I like Laserdiscs. Like Krizik sent me a Laserdisc and I put in a frame. Yeah, that's why you get those frames at Michael's, and you can hang them up on the wall. That's basically what I've been doing with my Laserdiscs. Yeah. The other thing with VHS too is that the aspect ratios were rarely, if ever, correct to the movies. Everything got pan and scanned. Everything got pan, and terrible. Yeah. And then when you look at it, when you look at discs that are pan and scanned now, it's still 4:3. Yeah. So it's like it's terrible. There's nothing good about it.
Yeah. And then one more super chat here from Captain Penis. Pretty obvious. Ballerina is fun. I love it. What are your thoughts? Did you get a chance to see Ballerina?
Yeah, I saw Ballerina. You know what? I thought it was a lot of fun too. I thought it was a really great action. The script, like John Campea said, it's not going to win any awards.
Sure.
But it was exactly, I mean, I think the joys, I remember seeing Commando in the theater. Yeah. Commando is not great. But Commando, I mean, when Arnold Schwarzenegger is throwing saw blades from a table saw, at people, it was exactly what it was supposed to be, and it had authorship.
Yeah.
Like I thought Commando, and it's got a great score, that James Horner score. Yeah. It's basically he's ripping himself off again, but still, it's Commando, and I miss that. I mean, nowadays we have all these big budget movies, but I thought Ballerina was exactly what it was supposed to be. Now they obviously had some more reshoots and things like that, but I thought it was great. Ana de Armas was great. I had a lot of fun with it, and that flamethrower battle at the end, knowing that there's no CG other than face replacements, that they were filming that with real flamethrowers. Like, I'm in. Count me in. What's not to love?
Captain Penis follows up again with, have you met Lord John Carpenter? What is your favorite JC, John Carpenter film?
I have only interviewed John Carpenter on the phone. I've never met him in person, but he's one of my favorite. I mean, at the time, especially growing up, one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. You know, it's funny because it's hard for me to, because his movies are so diverse in terms of tone. Every time I watch a John Carpenter movie, I think to myself, maybe this is my favorite John Carpenter movie. Like, I mean, I could tell you, like every time I watch The Fog, I like The Fog more. One of my favorite John Carpenter movies is Prince of Darkness.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, and I love Escape from New York.
Yeah.
It's easier to say which John Carpenter movies I don't like.
Sure.
Obviously, I love The Thing is probably his best movie, but I think Starman is tremendously underrated.
I love Starman as well. Yeah.
Starman is an incredible movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think Christine is underrated.
Yeah.
You know, it gets. I mean, I think the actors are a little too old for their parts.
Sure.
But I still like Christine a lot. But I love Escape from New York. I love Assault on Precinct 13.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I love Dark Star.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I love In the Mouth of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love, of course, Big Trouble in Little China. It's going to be 40 years old next year. I hope that. Where's that?
Yeah, I think for me it comes down to those three original, that Kurt Russell trilogy, right? The Thing, Big Trouble, and Escape from New York.
Yeah,
and more than anything, it's because those were probably the first ones I like. I think Escape from New York was the first Carpenter movie I saw, and so that one kind of always stuck in my mind as being one.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, Halloween was the very first videotape I ever owned.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the funny thing is, Halloween and Dark Star were the first two video cassettes.
Oh wow!
Well, for my bar mitzvah, my parents gave me a Dogtown skate. I get to go design my skateboard.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a Dogtown skateboard and tracker trucks and a Kryptonic wheels and the Dogtown deck. And then I got Halloween.
Nice.
When it was on Meta, before Meta became Media. And it was $54. Halloween was $54 in 1980.
Crazy.
And that was a lot. And I the thing about Halloween though is I've seen Halloween 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't watch it. You know, it's because I showed it to everybody. Everybody was at my house. Like we were like the first people to have. My mom said it was like what it was like to get a color TV or TV and first TV in black and white when she was a little girl.
Right.
Everybody came to your house, and there was every day after school people were at my house. And then that's when my mom started. Your son showed my daughter Animal House. And it's rated R, and there's nudity in it. My mom would be like,
yeah,
she didn't care.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, but John Carpenter was you know, his movies, because you could get The Fog. The Fog was on magnetic video,
right?
Which is what 20th Century Fox became. But and it's funny, whatchamajigger, Andre Blais,
mm-hmm.
who started magnetic video, later then went on to produce Carpenter's movies, went on to produce like Prince of Darkness and They Live over at Alive Films, and yeah. Those are the days, man.
Yeah.
But those movies, I mean, I love The Fog. I love that. Or I mean, the Assault on Precinct 13, Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York, and The Thing are all bangers. I mean, they're all great movies. And then, I mean, I've often wondered if The Thing didn't come out 2 weeks after E.T., because I don't think John Carpenter was ever the same.
Sure.
You know, you listen to him talk, and after he put everything he had, I mean, can you imagine you become an independent filmmaker, and this doesn't happen now. You make one independent movie and a studio hires you.
Grabs you. Yeah.
You never have enough power to control what you're making anyway. You get Colin Trevorrow gets to go make Jurassic World after Safety Not Guaranteed, and you don't have a career after that.
Right.
You know, but Carpenter had made, first of all, Dark Star became a theatrical release, you know, and then you have Assault on Precinct 13, which didn't make a lot of money, but it's still a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he made Dark Star, Assault on Precinct 13, Halloween, The Fog, and so 5 movies before he made The Thing.
Yeah.
And then you get to Universal, and you get to make this big budget movie with the cast that you want. Rob Bottin doing all these effects, Ennio Morricone doing the score.
Right.
You get everything you want, and then the movie comes out, and people hate it.
Yeah.
Roger Ebert. And then and then I mean, he's still, because he had these other movies under his but I don't think he ever recovered from that.
Mm-hmm.
But he did get to make things like he cared about, His last big budget movie was Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
But even that, he got the same thing. You get to go to work for Fox, and Big Trouble in Little China, Fox was billing their 3 big movies, was The Fly, Aliens, and Big Trouble in Little China was the summer of '86 for Fox. And guess which one didn't make money?
Yeah, the Carpenter one.
because it was before its time. Nobody had
was.
seen these martial arts movies. Nobody knew the wuxia genre, and it's a bummer.
Yeah.
It's
He
a
was
bummer. That
definitely
happened.
Always been ahead of his time.
Yeah, it happened to him, and then he had to go make Memoirs of an Invisible Man with Chevy Chase. And when he gets to Warner Brothers, and that's what he gets saddled with.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
All right, we've had folks have been waiting patiently. We got Darth Plato coming up next. Welcome, Darth. You should be able to join us now.
Did you get a new camera or something? Your setup looks different. Looks good.
Yeah, I mentioned the last time I was on.
That's good.
Everything is new. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Excuse me. So there's nothing that I can bring up that we could possibly talk about inside of 7 minutes. So why don't you just go ahead and ask me anything that's on your mind?
I've got a letter. Well, I've got a letter from you that I haven't read yet.
Indeed.
I won't ask you about that though. I'm just going to read it.
Yeah, we can't talk about that in 7 minutes.
No, I mean, no, I'm curious from a historical perspective. Here's what I want to ask you. Where do you see America right now? From a historical perspective, I've never seen. I feel like there's never been a period in American history quite like the one that we're living through right now. Or is that not true?
Well, if you think about it, every period of history is really unique. I mean, every period of revolution, people were walking around looking at each other like, has anyone ever seen anything like this before?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, if you think what we're living through now is something, then you should have seen the French Revolution.
Well, that's the thing. Every time I think that it's crazy, I think to myself, well, it's not World War II. It's not the 60s. It's
imagine this. So in the early 1780s, there was a lot of literature going around about how the people were too rich and the poor was too poor, and so there should be equity. And so what people did in Western France was they congregated around chateaus, and they said, we'll burn down your chateau unless you open up the door so we can come and just take whatever we want.
Right. That would suck.
So so that's what happened. They just went in there. They just started. I'll take the chair. I'll take that clock. We'll roll up this rug and we'll take it. And so these people they roll up the rug and they take it. And they just plopped on the ground outside their house. So as soon as it rained, the rug is ruined.
Right.
They'll take the painting off the wall, and then they'll just go in their house and they'll just set it against the wall, and it's not being cared for, so it just ruined.
Yeah. I mean, you put it that way. It's like, yeah, I just what I find interesting though is the belief systems are coming into on a global scale. The idea of modernization and civilization and all that we're in a real conflict now with I don't know, medievalism.
We're in conflict with modernity and postmodernity. Postmodernity is really neo-barbarism as far as I'm concerned, because what it does is it wipes out the basis of the Enlightenment. It undermines it completely, like free speech. Well, if you wipe out free speech, we have to have safe spaces and speech is violence. They're just as language to get around the what's there in the classical liberalism. So we're undermining. When you start undermining that stuff, you're going to get a bunch of chaos.
Right.
So now we have the situation. Like there's this idea that the law is optional. The law is just a suggestion.
Yeah. I think, but it's happened so quickly.
How does it happen quickly?
Well, I mean, maybe. I just see it as social media maybe just exacerbated it, but I've seen it. I mean, I'm thinking like over the last 15 years. I mean, there's so much of American life now where it's self-loathing.
Well, there's too much permissiveness and we're not as polite as we used to be.
No.
Remember there was a time. There was a time where you could go to the gas station and you could get gas then pay, or
Right.
you go to the buffet and you could just pick the food out, and then you go to the counter and you tell them how much it is.
Yeah.
We used to be able to do that. Now we can't do that.
No, because people, I do think the asshole and the assholeization of American life has been something that, you see videos of people, like I saw a video of a woman going crazy on an airplane, and it just was on this week, and she was screaming and yelling about something, but she reached over and she grabbed a total stranger's hair, this other woman's hair, and people are trying to subdue this woman, and she's just going off about whatever she's going off about, and she leaves her hand pulling this woman's hair. And I was looking at this going, I've never seen this before. And maybe it always went on because we weren't always carrying cameras. But I've personally witnessed in real life behavior I've never seen before in terms of people's outlandish or extreme behavior. That in any, not just civil society, but just in general, a normal person would not do. And yet people are doing it. And I'm wondering, why is that? Like, where, like you were saying that, and I would say people are mean. Is it social media? I mean, what is it? How is it that
social media does exacerbate a little bit? It doesn't originate in social media. It's the like I've already said what it was. It's really postmodernism just undermining the fabric of society. It's the this overall permissiveness.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just I'm a civilizationist. I believe in civilization.
Well, if you believe in civilization, then you should be against what's going on right now.
I am. I mean, I really am seeing. I saw this video. It was taken in Japan. I don't know where in Japan, and the camera pans from it's pouring down rain out on the street, and it pans over, and there's a bunch of people sitting underneath this. It almost looked like a train stop or something, and they're sitting amongst deer, the animals, and they're all just sitting there quietly waiting for the rain to stop. And I'm like, this would never happen. And the people, I think somebody was feeding one of the deer, but everybody else they're all just together sitting waiting for this rain to stop.
Well, that's a little bit of the opposite extreme, though, because in Japan and some places in the East, you have a lower strata of society that has been completely subdued culturally. That's why they seem so passive and seem so submissive. You notice they seem to be very submissive. They're bowing very frequently.
But I don't think. I mean, there's something about Japanese order.
But that did not originate from the Enlightenment. That originates from something else.
Yeah. Yes. No. I know. But I mean, in terms of the fact that Japanese streets, like, why would I don't understand. When I first moved to LA, the first time I was here for a day, and somebody was in a Volkswagen Scirocco, a convertible Volkswagen Scirocco, and I was on Santa Monica Boulevard and Wilshire. I was at the corner. Well, I was at the intersection of Wilshire Boulevard and Santa Monica Boulevard, which is a huge intersection where you drive down Wilshire into Beverly Hills, or you drive down Santa Monica into West Hollywood. And right in front of me, some hot blonde, she literally was drinking like a big gulp or something and dropped it on the street. Like right next to her, she dropped it on the street, just in the middle of the street, because she was right in front of me at the light. Mm-hmm. And this did not compute with me. Like I saw it
the other day. Mom and the kid walked out the door and opened up a candy bar. I gave it to the kid and then took the wrapper and just threw it on the ground.
Yeah, well, I rolled up. I grabbed the big gulp. I grabbed the cup, rolled up alongside her, and I threw it in her car. This is my first day in LA, and I was thinking to myself,
breaking news: Robert Meyer Burnett has been arrested.
Yeah, well, but that intersection is a really nice intersection. There's greenery on one side of it. It's literally, you're entering Beverly Hills, and I was so excited to be in LA. I mean, it's peak LA, that particular corner. And I looked at I'm like, why would anybody, in what universe? People used to make fun of me because I would pick up garbage, or if I had a wrapper, if it took me an hour to get to a garbage can to put it away, I would still have it in my hand. or I'd put it in my pocket and throw it away.
Yeah, that's to your credit.
Oh, but to me, it's just what you, in a civilization, you don't want to do that. I mean, why would you, if you're able to, you think about all this stuff, like even on a sidewalk at that intersection. An intersection is paved. You have stoplights, which is technology. There's sidewalks. There's medians. There's all this stuff that has been created, made by people to make sure that our city is functional. And it was planned. It was executed. Why would you want to diminish? Like, you go to any street corner, and I've always thought this. I'm like, this street corner is amazing. You know, it's amazing if you look at it, but all the stuff that exists on this street corner, like I was watching these videos of, you know, the missiles hitting in Tel Aviv, whether it was a hospital, whether it's somebody's house, you're like, how long did it take to build this building? And the same is true if I look at what's happened in Gaza. I'm like, because Gaza, if you looked at it before it was taken down, it was this nice beachfront places, you know, and you look at this and I'm thinking, as a civilizationist, nothing could be more anti-civilization than fucking up buildings. Same thing in Ukraine. You know, you look at this stuff and now, why is this happening? You know, and again, I know war is hell and all this, but it's a frustrating time because I feel that everything that I loved about Western civilization, living in the time we lived in, we were on this uphill. All the technology, computer technology, everything that has been great about our civilization is now being dismantled by a bunch of motherfuckers that don't care or like it or are guilty about it. You know, your entire civilization is a product of colonization and conquering and diminishing others. I'm like, that's in the entirety of human history. That's all of human history since we came out 2001. Somebody wanted your water. You know, they yelled at you until you figured out how to use bones to kill them. I mean, there's the dawn of civilization. We haven't learned a thing. And the rest of my life, I'm going to have to live with a bunch of assholes trying to destroy everything that made life worth living in Western civilization on Earth. Oh, well.
Thank you so much for joining us, Darth Plato, as always. We have Yash joining us next.
Are we passing over Krizik? Because he's been...
Krizik asked to wait until we are offline, so I'm holding off on Krizik until then. So, but Yash, and then Yash, Julian is the other person who'd like to join us, but Yash is in a bit of a time crunch, so I'm gonna have Yash first, then Julian, and then then Stubble, then Julian. So, so Yash is next. Welcome, Yash.
What up, dude?
Hey, what's up, man? Long time no see.
Yeah, you haven't been here in a while.
Yeah, no, actually, sorry, like, for being so forward about trying to, like, hop on the stream. Like, I didn't want to jump anybody, but
no. We're all friends here.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'd hope so, but like, it's, you know, sometimes it's what's your saying? It's show friends, not show business.
It's show friends. Yeah, but this is show friends right here.
This is show friends here.
This is show friends.
That's ultimately my point.
You're a member of the channel. We've already done business, so now you're my friend.
I'd hope so. Okay, no, well, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, I mean, how have things been with you guys? You've been all right, like with the streams. How did the podcast go?
Yeah. Oh, the
podcast, the
audio drama.
Audio.
You know what? I couldn't be happier with it. I mean, obviously, we're trying to get it placed. We're trying to figure out what we're gonna do. There's a company that wants to distribute it on all platforms. I mean, we've just been selling it ourselves. And I've been promoting it, but I couldn't be happier with it. You know, I couldn't be happier with that. And I think, you know, like on the John Campea show, I'm having more fun on the John Campea show than I've had in a long time, just because the format now and being on it for like an hour, it's so much fun to just go do things and be high energy and leave, you know, and I've just been having fun. You know, in terms of work and trying to get it, but it's really weird. We live in a very interesting time, and the entertainment business, I don't think, is in a great place. I like seeing that this summer movies seem to be doing well, you know, which is good.
It seems like that, but I mean, I feel like I was going through the box office just on, you know, the numbers.com.
Yep.
And I was kind of just looking over, like, just kind of what was the trends and the vibes going on this year, because
was looking at like the box office for like Mission Impossible, and I'm like, damn, they actually spent like $400 million on this movie, and it's just crossed the $500 million mark.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's like, I mean, How to Train Your Dragon, the remake has made quite a bit of money, which is pretty good to see. But I don't know, this year has been kind of an up and down. Like I think Warner Brothers has been having an absolute stellar year, but
Yep,
even
and
with
they're
the
going to continue to.
I just feel like I've been looking at the international grosses for a lot of these movies, and domestically, I don't think we've been in a better or like slightly more healthy place than I felt like compared to last year.
Yeah, and a lot of different kinds of movies are making
A lot
money.
of different kinds of movies, like you have Final Destination, and then you're getting Sinners, and then you're getting, Thunderbolts, which felt like an A24 movie.
Yeah.
You're getting like even like Captain America, for all its faults, like it's still probably going to gross more than the newest Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Right. And it had a black lead in it. Like, you're getting Harrison Ford. It was interesting. Anyways, I'm looking at the overseas grosses, and I'm noticing like a discrepancy. I don't know why that's happening. Are people just getting more content that's custom to them in their own native countries? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
lot.
Our action movies tend to make more money in foreign territories than they do domestically. Like Mission Impossible is doing better foreign than it is domestic, and that's always the James Bond movies have always made more money foreign than they do here. But certainly in China, they got, what is it, Niha 2 or whatever, became one of the biggest grossing movies ever.
Yeah, but like Netflix just recently announced they made a partnership with that French television company.
Yeah, they're going to put that television. They're going to put that channel on.
They're going to put their whole channel on like Netflix, and then in Spain, they're investing so much money there. I think over like $1 billion or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they have like all this like investment that they're putting across like just most of all these other countries, even like India, right? Amazon has putting too much money into India right now. It's like they pump so much into Prime Video there. So like I think people are like they have like different avenues to consume their content, so they're not just kind of like hell-bent on going to the movies, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
I think it'll be interesting to see in July how the back-to-back of Jurassic, Superman, and Fantastic Four does, because the last time I can recall something like that much of a cluster of such big properties coming out back to back to back. Ironically, one of them was directed by Gareth Edwards, and this is like May in 2014. So Gareth Edwards had released Godzilla, and then you'd had another red and blue spangled, icon of American superhero culture, which was Spider-Man, come out a week after that. And then 2 weeks after that was a multiversal sort of like Fox X-Men movie, which was X-Men Days of Future Past, but now we're getting Fantastic Four. So it's very funny. It's very much a mirror of that same month.
Yeah, well, I think don't rest on F1. I think F1 is going to be huge. First of all,
F1 will make money, but I don't think it's going to make Top Gun money.
No, I don't think it's going to make $1.5 billion, but I do think it's going to be huge. I think we're getting, and I think Superman, Jurassic, and Fantastic Four are all going to be big earners, especially if they're good. If they're good, I have suspect that Fantastic Four has a lot more going on in it than we've seen. I think that's probably the same is true of Superman. By the way, they just announced that the Punisher is going to be a big part of the next Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so I think that's cool. I don't know what. I mean,
is that like as much of a draw as like having Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield?
No, I don't think it is.
It's not $1.8 billion.
No, I don't think it is. It's going to be look. I think the most fascinating thing that is happening is Doomsday, Secret Wars, and maybe Secret Wars 2. I don't know if my theory, I don't know, or whatever, because I don't think it's going to work. I hope it works, but I think that they're taking this huge gamble, and they've turned their biggest franchise into now a gimmick. Both the Avengers movies are gimmick movies now, where they weren't before.
Did we lose Yash? Looks like
No,
Yash
he's talking to somebody off screen.
got distracted off screen.
Are you in trouble, Yash?
Oh, we can't hear you, Yash. It
We
looks like
can't,
you're
yeah, we can't.
muted. Let me
Yeah,
see. You should be. You should be able to unmute now.
That
Oh,
never does
sorry.
not make me laugh inside.
What the getting ready for it?
No, the musical sting to play people off on there, because
Oh,
it
really?
sounds
Is there something that
exactly.
plays off? That's
It
hilarious.
sounds exactly like. No, you keep talking, but it's hilarious. I don't know where you found that, but it sounds so Oscar like.
It's built into Zoom. It says built into Zoom.
Well, then they knew what they were doing. Those
They
Zoom
did.
people.
Yeah, no, but what were you saying? Sorry, I got cut off.
No, I was just saying. I mean, I'm curious. The Avengers movies intrigue me. I don't know how the Spider-Man movie is going to fall in between them, or it's going to come out before. But I'd love to see Marvel come back to its heyday. But I just think that time, everything has. We've been getting Marvel movies since 2008, and the Infinity Saga. You had 23 movies that were good to great, mostly great, and now we've been suffering through this kind of mixture of mediocrity, and sometimes you'll get but it's all the movies that were good, like Spider-Man No Way Home was gimmicky, based on the gimmick of two Spider-Mens from three different Spider-Man universes combined into one. I mean, if anything, that was the most successful thing the multiverse did, and it was a gimmick. And now we're getting, a double gimmick with the Avengers movies combined with the multiverse. So who knows where you've got the Fox X-Men? Who knows who's going to show up in that movie?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the whole MCU so far has been kind of gimmicky outside of maybe Loki season 2.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that really felt like it capitalized on this whole thing. And then No Way Home, obviously. I'm trying to think of something else I like Thunderbolts a lot.
I like Thunderbolts. I thought Thunderbolts was a terrific film.
The best thing they've done in years.
Yeah. I mean, I hated Deadpool and Wolverine. And
yeah, I mean, I can't really I didn't hate it, but I just, if you think about it too much, you start to dislike it pretty fast.
Well, the whole movie was a gimmick. Like I wanted it to be like Days of Future Past, where you can have the wisecracking Deadpool and Wolverine, but then put them through a Days of Future Past story that had some kind of weight or gravitas. They should never have introduced the TVA into the MCU. The TVA is the biggest mistake I think they ever made.
Yeah, that whole movie, like the TVA could have been like the in-universe version of SNL at that point, because it just felt like very self-parodying, and I don't know why they decided to do that, but everything felt very light and frothy and not.
I mean, and also watching these TVA
acting his ass off. Hugh Jackman was acting his ass off.
Yeah, he was like in a totally different movie.
But he's in a wholly different movie.
Yeah. And like I hated the beginning when Deadpool's just killing these TVA officers. Like, what did they do? It's not like the TVA is evil. The Time Variance Authority is literally in charge of creation itself. And they're just and yet the whole movie just gleefully opens with Deadpool disemboweling these characters, and I'm like, why is this supposed to be? Why are you killing these guys? And it was. I found the whole movie, like you said, it's this light and frothy mix of dumbness, which was too bad because Hugh Jackman was kicking ass in that movie. Oh well.
Yeah,
this is great. Great to see you, man.
Sorry, Rob. Yeah, Yash, it was great to see you. And let me see here. We're right at the 1 p.m. mark. So I think we're going to go ahead and get off the YouTube stream. But for those who are on Zoom, we will continue the conversation there.
I want Yash's jacket. Where'd you get that jacket, dude? That jacket's dope. It's hard to pull off red like that. That's great.
Rob, any announcements before we say goodbye to our YouTube friends?
No, I'll be doing more YouTube shows. Tomorrow, Let's Get Physical Media. I got a stack of discs. And then more Robservations. People have been liking the Robservations. The more editorial I get, the more, got a lot. I have received a crop of letters like I've never received before. Ooh. So yeah, it's really pretty great. I've been getting I got a lot of great letters to read. Oh. And then of course, I'll be at Comic-Con with Max Allen Collins, and Friday we have a panel. So that's going to be fun. And yeah, we'll see where we go.
Actually, before we go, Rob, we've got a couple more super chats. Let's go ahead and read these to send us off. So Kelvin, once again, jumping in here, saw 28 years later yesterday, thought it was okay, just nothing new except Rafe Fiennes made a difference. It did not help the fire alarm went off. I can imagine.
Oh,
Yeah.
the fire alarm, that would suck.
That might throw off the production a little bit there. And then Professor, is it Dang? $4.99. Rob, what do you prefer? Kubrick Shining or Stephen King Shining? I'm someone who watched the movie before reading the book. It is so much different.
It's a good question. I mean, I love the book, The Shining, but Kubrick's Shining to me is its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the TV miniseries that was much more faithful to the book is a little bit more fantastical.
Yeah.
But I really like Kubrick's version of The Shining just because it's more sort of grounded. It's more, I don't know, it's more, one of the things I also love about that Kubrick's movie is that most of it takes place in lit rooms. It's not until the end when they're running through the topiary, well, it's the maze,
Through the maze.
that there's darkness. The whole movie is brightly lit, and to create horror in brightly lit rooms is a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
And but I have to say that The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's my favorite director. The Shining is not high up on my list of favorite Kubrick movies.
Yeah.
It's literally Kubrick doing a B movie, which was interesting. I mean, I like it. I like what he was trying to do, but it's one of my least favorite Kubrick films, if that makes any sense.
I think it does. And with that, we are going to say goodbye to our friends on YouTube, but the chat continues for our members on the Zoom call. So thanks, everybody, for joining us today.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.